want to get Vivian to give a comment, and I know we're also due for a break. Do you have a quick comment you want to say on this before we take that break?
I really like what he's saying, but I'll just try and shift it a little bit, because I was recently in the US for about 3 months, and of course, like he was saying, the biggest difference we have is that there's a system that works there. And so even driving around, you'd see so many placards as people wanting people to come and work for them.
And you were surprised to see that,
and I was
because
surprised.
you rarely see that here.
I mean, rarely even see it. Like it's I don't know, it's just hilarious. But, you know, and they'd have like these truck jobs and school bus driving, and they'd jobs that would pay even up to $25 an hour. I mean, that's really good money if you compare to what the majority of Kenyans even have a glimpse of here. So when I came back, I decided to do just a very intimate event, and I call it Dominate. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to get a glimpse of vitu kwa ground, vile ziko. I talk to people, of course, because of my influence, and I have a lot of people who DM me and all those things. But then when we had the Dominate, it had different aspects, and it was just a motivational, life-changing, you know, forum. And so it had a section that talks about finances, it had relationships, what else did it have? It had some music, all those things. But the part that caught me particularly was when the finances bit got in. And so we started asking people for feedback, and we had a financial expert, and she came and she was talking about how people need to be less spenders, especially now the culture that we have for young people, the online culture, which basically just tells everyone you need to buy everything and have everything. And so most people don't save, they don't buy things that will actually mean something to them in 5 or 10 years to come. And so, you know, after that talk, a lot of the feedback was we needed to hear more about finances, we need to understand how we can make money. And so it's the same issue. There's such a big issue when it comes to young people and money. They don't have the money, they don't know where to get it.
In fact, you're talking about saving as well, and do they have the money to save?
Yeah, they don't even know what to do to get themselves out of that situation. And so it's really sad, and I feel like to an extent we need to shift to the areas where people are trying to impart change. Like now for what I was trying to do with Dominate, right? Such that we stop focusing so much on, you know, our parliamentarians, because they say when you talk about a problem too much, you know what you also do? You magnify it, because it's a topic of discussion. If the problem was this small, you talk about it, it builds. And I feel like as a country, those are some of the things we do. We talk about our problems, we talk about them, they become big, they become humongous, they overtake us, they discourage us, they lead us to disappointment, depression rises. It's just a really horrible space to be in a country. So we need also to focus our energies on spaces where people are actually having valid discussions and know how to plug in and do the change. Because clearly, you know, our governance has a big issue. There is a lot of reluctance. I usually feel, just my instinct as a woman, that it's just few people sitting in these offices that are making our lives miserable. It's just in the same way where someone can have your money somewhere, right? And they're just refusing to put in the signature. And they just need to sign for you to get your money to feed your family.
But the longer they hold on to that, the more frustrated
the more you become frustrated. The people who are working for you become frustrated. So it's you know, it's a downward spiral. So we need to just, the pressure needs now to come from the good side. Because I feel also the good has the power to always override the evil. It just depends on how much energy and how we do it. The only reason the evil usually, you know, looks like it's flourishing is because evil people are very tactful, you know, wanajipanga. Organized. And now the other people on the other side, because you're good, you think
you're using the word evil interchangeably with corrupt.
Yes.
Okay.
You think things will fall on your lap.
Yes.
You know, it's like me saying, because maybe I do some kind of music, then I'm not gonna put any more effort. You know, God loves me. You see, when you're presenting yourself to the world, you have to be able to look just a little bit like the world, and then you use what you look like. Now you feed yourself the right information so that whatever comes out of you is actually edifying. Okay, so it's impactful. Those are interesting points that you've raised. Hang on, we are due for that break. I'll give you each a chance to speak when we come back, and we have some feedback. Let's put that up on the screen. Wow, I strongly believe that You know, I am a believer in God. And I know, you know, there are usually a lot of controversies when you bring God into the picture. But I feel like we need also leaders who have a fear of God. Because I was telling my husband the other day, do you know I'm in the Juakali sector? Because what happens for me as an entertainer, I go, I perform, I'm paid. And I am in the Juakali sector, but I'm not doing that well, but I'm doing better than very many Kenyans who are actually within a system. You know, our entertainment industry does not really have a system. It's just about when you're big.
By you mean no structures?
We have no structures. That's what I mean. You mean you do your bit. If you know you're fortunate enough and God has decided to shine His light on you, you have numbers, you have influence, you entertain Kenyans, you're paid for it, right? But now, when I think about what is actually happening in a country whereby, you know, we pay taxes. And our government has a responsibility to its citizens, but it chooses not to. Disrespectfully, blatantly, just plain disregard for the human life. There is something seriously wrong with the mindset of our leaders. And we need to change that narrative completely. And that's one of the things that I would say we need to start from. We need to try and influence people from here. Because putting in rules and pointing fingers, there are no results that are coming in. So we need to change our tact. And that means we need to address our leaders from a point of, okay, this will sound crazy, but we need to pray to God for our leaders to hear God's voice and to hear God's guidance. Because that's the only way we can be able to get rid of these things. I feel like, even as a person who's lived in this country and gone through different phases, right now, economically, we are literally on our knees, right? Because even just having basic amenities to do basic things is becoming a big problem, you know? If I have an event and I have over 200 young people who've come in for Dominate and all of them don't have jobs, they don't know what to do. They're looking
and was
for
that on a weekday?
It was on a
weekend.
Saturday.
But you've seen what happens on weekdays when politicians call rallies. They
Yes.
have no problem getting the numbers.
It was on a Saturday afternoon. And it was an invite-only event, and we invited about 300, but about 250 showed up for the event, which was really good numbers. And I feel strongly some of the reasons, of course, because of they wanted to see me, I don't know. That's one of the reasons they came. But also, how we structured the event is we wanted to understand where is the place of young people at the moment. And having about 250 people, and all of them are almost unemployed. I mean, what kind of a country are we running? The parents are depressed. No one has the solutions about what to do. And just like you were saying, what will happen is over time, the pressure of the country will submerge our leaders. But also, as a believer, I said, leadership comes from God. So we need to address our leaders in a way first as humans and tell them, what you guys have been doing is hurting us, and we're really feeling bad about it. But we need to understand, for you, what made you do what you've been? You know, just conversationally, communication, like how you'd communicate in your marriage. If you found your husband or your wife has done something so stupid, you know, you cussing them and hitting them back will not give you results. But you
want answers to the questions.
If you want the right answers, you have to sit down with them and tell them, you know, I was really offended when you did this to me, and I want us to have.
Maliba doesn't look like the kind of man who.
I know he doesn't.
Will answer those
but
No man has been poured.